be introducing you one of the biggest cybersecurity incidents in Australia history. The 2022 Optus Data Breach on September 22nd, Optus, the second largest telecommunications company in Australia, revealed that it had been hit by a massive cyber attack. This breach exposed the personal data up to 9.8 million customers. That's more than a third of the country's population. What kind of data was leaked? We are talking about the names, phone numbers, email addresses, date of birth, and even sensitive ID documents like driver licenses and passports in some cases. And how did it happen? Well, it was due to something incredibly simple, a public-facing API that didn't require password, any authentication. That means anyone with the right tools could access it. No login, no password, no security check. Now, this wasn't just a technical slip-up, it was also a failure in governance and responsibility. The OAIC, Australia's privacy regulator, claimed Optus violated the Privacy Act, specifically Section 13G. Technically, the fine could have added up to a whopping $21 trillion through, of course, that's theoretical. So let me quickly walk you through the timeline. In early September, an attacker scanned Optus systems and found that unauthenticated API over the following weeks. They quietly accessed the data of millions on September 21st. Suspicious activity was finally noticed. By the 22nd operation, uh, on 24th, the hacker posted some data online and later claimed they deleted it. So within the just few days, Australia was dealing with the full-blown cybersecurity crisis, and it all started because of forgotten lock on the digital door. Thank you, Seb, so much.
Hi everyone, so let's break down the technical side of this breach, what went wrong and what should have been done to stop it. At the center of it all was a public API, basically a communication gateway that lets systems talk to each other. Now APIs are common, but here's a catch. This one had no login system, no password, no multi-factor authentication. Anyone could access it and extract sensitive customer data. To be honest, this wasn't some sophisticated high-tech attack. The attacker didn't need malware or insider access. All they did was send simple requests to the API and it gave them everything. Let's look at what failed. First, the API had no authentication or authorization checks. There was no network segmentation, meaning once you were in, you had access to everything. The intrusive detection system didn't flag the activity and there was no rate limiting. So the attacker could just keep requesting the data without being stopped. So what could Optus have done differently? They should have implemented an API gateway with strict login control, rule-based access controls to limit who can access what. They could also have set up some proper monitoring systems to detect some unusual behavior, and also most importantly, they could have conducted penetration testing to catch these issues before attackers did. And in Australia, the government recommends something called the Essential 8, 8 Basic Cybersecurity Strategies. Optus failed to meet several of these. In the end, this breach wasn't about a lack of money or tools. It was a failure to apply basic cybersecurity hygiene. Thank
Hi everyone, I'm Abdul Hanan and I'll be talking about the human factors of this incident. There was no technical error in this situation, but rather the organizational decision to lack awareness and security training for their staff led to this incident. So, when we unpack everything, we came to know that what actually went wrong was that the code was insecure and the APIs were not tested for security before being deployed. The staff was not trained to spot these issues while they were coming up or within the coding or development stage. There was no internal audits, and that led to the incident. Now, the point to be noted in this situation is that there was no social engineering attack on the situation. As you know, that in the cyberspace, the weakest link to that chain is the human, because we as human beings make mistake, and we let sometimes, or in most of the cases, we let the attacker into the organization. Now, in this instance, there was no social engineering or phishing or any social engineering related attack, because the hacker or the threat actors didn't have to actually trick someone into getting them access. Rather, there was already exposed assets over the internet which they could access. Now, if we unpack this, we see that the cultural lack of Optus plays a very big role into this situation, because Optus is the cultural security wasn't implemented. It for them it was like a compliance test for just some boxes to tick off. Now, this situation gives us a review on what we should do as part of organization, or what organizations should do to avoid these incidents. Cybersecurity should be a crucial part of every level of the organization, from leaders to executives to staff, and people in powerful positions or people with management or executive roles need to understand the risk that comes with that, as if you don't train your staff, this can lead to multi-million dollar incidents just like this one. Now, the OAIC did the investigation on Optus, and they reached the conclusion that their policy was to be reactive, not to be proactive about the situation. Thank you.
For moving onwards, I'm going to talk about legal analysis and conclusion. Hi, Tim. I'll wrap up this presentation by walking you through the legal side of the breach and then finish with our key takeaways. Under Australian law, companies that handle personal data have very clear responsibilities. The Privacy Act 1998, especially Section 13G, says companies must take responsible steps to protect that data. If they don't, it consider a serious interference with privacy. In this case, Optus failed to take those steps. The OAIC said that for each of the 9.5 million affected customers, there could be a fine up to $2.22 million, technically bringing the total of over $21 trillion. Of course, the number is theoretical, but it shows just how serious the violation was. Then there's the notifiable data breaches (NDB SIM). These require organizations to report any data breach that is likely to cause serious harm. Optus did follow the rules and notified both of OAIC and the public within 24 hours. But again, reporting a breach doesn't erase the responsibility to prevent it in the first place. Also relevant is the Cybercrime Act 2001, which criminalizes unauthorized access to protected data. Then part targets the attacker, but for Optus the focus was negligence. So what can we take away from all of this? First, cybersecurity is not optional, especially for companies managing critical infrastructure. Second, simple follows like an exposed API can lead to massive consequences if not addressed. Third is organizations must adopt security first mindset at every level, from developers to the boardroom. And finally, governments need to set stronger standards and hold companies accountable when they fall short. The Optus breach isn't just a case study, it's a warning, a reminder that in today's digital world, protecting customer data must be top priority. Thank you.